All right. It is 2025 draft season. And like I promised, we are going to start with one of my favorite prospects this draft season. And that is Arizona State running back Cam Skattebo. What's up, everyone? This is Josh here from No Buts About It. And today we're going to talk about Cam Skattebo, who is a guy who I absolutely love as a running back prospect in this draft. You may be thinking to yourself, Josh, you said you were going to do guys that weren't super popular, weren't heavily talked about, weren't in the media a lot, aren't highly ranked. You know what? I did say that. All that's true. And Cam Skattebo kind of fits in that situation. Now, I will grant you, he is a media darling. People love to talk about him. He's super exciting, especially after he came out and said that he is the best running back in the country. Um, but I looked at Mel Kiper's big board, and he has him not even top 5 running back in this class. I think he had him 8th. I looked at Bleacher Report where they have him graded right now for the draft, and that's a 3rd round pick, which is perfect. That's where most of our guys are usually landing on this series. So we're gonna talk about him anyway. And if you are mad about it, I don't care. Because this guy, when I watch him, when I watch videos about him, he is so much fun. Um, First of all, if there is someone who embodied Knuckles the Hedgehog, it's Cam Skattebo. But Knuckles is already taken. There's already been a player, David Montgomery, who's taken on that nickname. So I am going to take another fictional character and apply him to Cam Skattebo. And for my Ben 10 fans out there, you'll be familiar. Cannon Bolt. I mean, this guy, he might be a little bit slow. He may lumber around a little bit, have that compact build. But once he gets going, once he starts rolling, there is no stopping him, and that is Cam Skattebo. 5'11", 215 pounds. He will be 22 years old at the time of the draft, and he runs with an anger that reminds me of Isaiah Pacheco. Like, he is mad at the ground. I don't know what the ground did to him, but Cam Skattebo is angry at it, and he turns himself into a juggernaut. And he doesn't try to avoid tackles. He runs at defenders and he challenges defenders to tackle him. And it's exciting. He breaks tackles so easily. He has, according to PFF, he has forced 102 missed tackles this season, which is second most in the entire country. So, absolutely insane for this guy from Arizona State to be doing that. I do expect his ability to break tackles to decrease in the NFL because the tackling skill is obviously higher across the board in the NFL. But I do think it will be a big part of his game. Um, while we're talking about it, so we talked about how he has 102 missed tackles this season. According to Arizona State's website, he has forced 225 missed tackles in his career on rushing plays, 4th among active FBS/FCS halfbacks, and he is 6th at 0.37 missed tackles forced per rushing attempt. Uh, that is a minimum of 300 attempts. And he is 4th among FBS running backs this season with 66 missed tackles forced on rushing plays despite missing a game. Now, obviously, PFF uses a bit of a different system, so the numbers may not be exact as well. And then also another big part of Cam Skattebo's game is his receiving game. So we will talk about that as well. Some of those missed tackles come on those plays. So that's why there's a bit of a discrepancy in those numbers that you may have just noticed. I just ultimately love the passion this man plays with. Cam Skattebo fights for every single yard, and that's why he has over 1,000 rushing yards this season. He had over 500 receiving yards this season, and he was the only player in the country to do that. He had over 1,700 rushing yards this season. And you know what? 1,202 of those yards came after contact because he breaks those tackles. He runs through those tackles. He runs over defenders, and his contact balance is absolutely insane. He is great at, something I've noticed he's really good at. He gets hit, and yeah, he starts to go down, but he gets that hand on the ground and he pushes off. He gets that 3-point stance and he pushes off and gets going again. He's just a full ball of energy running downhill, very physical, very exciting, and very hard to bring down. Someone like, again, I said Derrick Henry, but he's smaller than Derrick Henry. Mike Allstott, but he's smaller than Mike Allstott. So I got to go with Jerome Bettis, honestly. And, I don't like the Steelers, obviously. I'm a Bengals fan, but Jerome Bettis, that's who he reminds me of. He's about the same height. I think Jerome Bettis is a little bit bigger than him, maybe 10, 20 pounds more, but that's about the same size as Cam Skattebo. And they are just such fun players to watch, the way they run through tackles, their physical run game. He has been stuffed for no gain or a loss on just 10.7% of his career carries. And that's the seventh lowest tally among all active backs at both levels of college football. I mean, he averages 4.1 yards after contact per rush attempt. And that's what some players are averaging per rush attempt, but that's after contact. That is after the first defender gets a hand on him. And he is averaging 5.8 yards per carry in 2024. So, I mean, if I'm looking at Cam Skattebo, what I'm looking at is just, what do I need from my team? What do I need from my run game? And if it is, I need a guy who's going to go out there on third down and get those hard yards, I am bringing in Cam Skattebo so quickly. I am running to the podium if he's there. If that is a problem I have had with my offense on third downs, is just getting those hard yards, or even in the red zone. Sometimes when you're first and goal, third and goal, and those hard yards to get there, everything's tight. You need a guy who's just going to say, you know what? Give me the ball. I'm going to run everyone down. That is Cam Skattebo. His passion is like no other. And we saw that in the Texas versus Arizona State playoff game in the Peach Bowl. Arizona State was getting killed. Everyone was turning off this game. People were saying this is why the 12 team playoffs suck. This is why you shouldn't have this and that. And everyone was pointing at this game. Then all of a sudden, Cam Skattebo rallies the team from 17-2 at half, and they gives him a chance. They get a chance, and they take the game to double overtime. He had 143 rushing yards on 30 carries and 2 touchdowns in this game, just rushing. And then he added another 8 receptions for 99 yards. And then he added 42 yards passing and a touchdown. And he threw a touchdown pass in this game. On top of that, he also had more yards by himself, which was 284, than Georgia, the whole team of Georgia did versus Texas. And that was 277. So he had 7 more yards than Georgia put up versus Texas. And he did all that despite throwing up. People were saying that on the sidelines before he kind of went off. People were saying, oh, Cam Skattebo's sick. Cam Skattebo's got bad conditioning. Now, Cam Skattebo was just sick of the horrible play that he was seeing from his team. And he yelled at his team. He went out there and he said, guys, we got to be better. This is terrible. This is awful. This is not the team we are. And he rallied them. And very rarely when a running back, there are very few instances of this. Boise State may be another example with Ashton Gianti, but there are very few instances I can think of where a running back leads a team and the quarterback stays and people are saying, well, how is this offense going to work? And that's what all the articles have been about. When I was looking up Cam Skattebo, a lot of the articles, a lot of the Arizona State bloggers are talking about, hey, Cam Skattebo is leaving. How is Sam Levitt going to run an offense without Cam Skattebo? He is that important to this team. This team worked so well with him, and he just elevated that entire offense to such a great degree. And when you watch film on Cam Skattebo, when you watch his highlights, or when you just watch old games of him, what you see is a physical downhill runner. Look up old high school video of him. You see the exact same thing. He is a patient runner. He waits for those gaps to open up, and then he goes through them hard, and then he targets his next defender, his next victim. He doesn't see his defender as an obstacle. He sees it as a victim. Uh, he also has a nice jump cut. Like he's not explosive, he's not athletic, don't get me wrong, but he has a nice jump cut that can make defenders look silly if they take a bad angle. And again, he's not going to be the guy in the draft who just blows your mind at the combine or anything like that. He's not going to put up any insane numbers athlete wise, but he is going to be a game changer for teams. I mean, this guy, if you put him down, if you're say you're 3rd and 3 and Cam Skattebo comes into the game, defenders aren't going to know what to do because he can be running a wheel route and go for a 40-yard receiving, or he can run up the middle, get those yards easily. He's insane. He is huge. He could even just simply be a pass protector if it's a pass play and you just need an extra defender for your quarterback. If you already have your explosive running back, if you already have that guy, I think Cam Skattebo is a guy you go after in the 3rd round if he's there. He just he's such a big part of offenses that he's been a part of, and he just seems so passionate. He fights for every yard like it's the Super Bowl. If he doesn't get that next yard, the team is going to lose the Super Bowl, and coaches love that. Um, Teams I'm thinking about the Bengals, to be honest. They have Chase Brown, tried to get Zach Moss. You know, it didn't really work out. Zach Moss got hurt, but they needed a pass protector guy. And that's what they brought Zach Moss in to do. Cam Skattebo can do that. Also, they needed a 3rd down back who isn't necessarily explosive. Chase Brown is their explosive guy, but who can get those hard yards with breakaway ability, and that is Cam Skattebo. Again, he's not outrunning corners or anything like that, but he does have breakaway ability for those big plays. In fact, here, let's see what PFF has him. He has 21 carries of 15 plus yards this past season. So obviously, he does have that ability to make those big plays. And the grit, that's his whole game, is getting every last yard. And in a game of inches, that's what you need. And it's even in his run technique. Watch him. He runs with a need to get every last inch. He leans forward, he falls forward. And that's part of the reason why he doesn't have a ton of attempts where he loses yards or doesn't gain any yards, because he at least gets back to the line of scrimmage and then he falls forward. And, defenders kind of stop once, that forward momentum stops, and that whistle blows and he falls forward and he gets a yard. He gets maybe 2 yards. And that's what coaches love, fighting for every last yard. And that's what you're going to get with Cam Skattebo. So if it comes to the 3rd round and your team drafts Cam Skattebo and you're like, what the heck? This guy's 8th on Mel Kiper's big board. What are we doing? I think you should be excited. Don't listen to when the media here in a few months looks at the combine and they say, look at how slow this guy is, or look at his lack of agility. Don't listen to any of that, because that's not Cam Skattebo's game. Cam Skattebo's game is running people over and making them pay for trying to tackle him. Let me know what you think about Cam Skattebo down below. I'm super excited for this guy to make it in the NFL. I would love it if the Bengals drafted him. I think he would look really good with this team paired up with Chase Brown. Another team he would look really good with and scare me a lot is the Philadelphia Eagles, because, Saquon Barkley, he's your money man. Obviously big playability, super talented running back. We've seen that this year, Maybe you don't necessarily want him going up the middle on those third down plays, getting those hard yards, potentially getting hurt. Cam Skattebo is your guy. Great guy to pair up with him, in my opinion. But let me know what you think down below. Let me know who you want me to check out as well. I've got a list of names, but I'm willing to add some guys to that as well. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any more of these videos. And until next time, go do something nice for someone.